Hello, my name is Leo Wagg, and I am presenting my code for the limited category for the 2015 MATLAB coding thing. Okay, let's begin. My code is 20 questions animals. Basically, this is the header of my code. It acknowledges my main sources of information, which was A to Z animals.com, as well as Wikipedia for snakes, and the books, the Harry Potter books by J.K. Rowling, for creative aspects of the program. The start of the program is the program asking for the user's name and then introducing itself as riddle. So then it goes to this part of the code where it asks the user to think of an animal. If they are ready, they say yes, and it continues to the start of the questions. Otherwise, it gives the user a bit of time to think of an animal. If the user repeatedly says that they are not ready, the program gets mad and will jump to the last part of the code, which I will show you at the end. This is the start of the questions. I started with invertebrates because I assumed that they would be the largest category of animals. I was, however, wrong. But basically, the process for all my code was I started with, is it the type of animal? If it was, I go into a matrix of questions. So I'd ask a list of questions, put those questions into a matrix, and then use an if statement to break the animals into different categories. Then in those categories, once I'd narrowed it down to an animal that I thought it would be, I would use a switch case with that question. In this case, is this a pond skater? Correct equals 1 would be the guess was correct. Correct equals 2 would be it's wrong. This is an example of when I had to use a second matrix within the matrix of invertebrates, just because there were so many animals in that certain section, because these are just the water invertebrates. Mammals, which ended up being my largest section of code, which was 1,287 lines long. Again, using the same process, made a matrix, then used an if-else case statement to break it further in. This is just the marine animals, and even with breaking it down into cats and dogs, like felines and wolves and whatever, I still had a category of other animals, which was still about 15 mammals long, which just shows you how many friggin' animals there were. So then it goes into reptiles. For this one, I asked first if it was a frog or toad, then I asked if it was a lizard, if it was a snake, and then if it was a tortoise or turtle, just to break it down further. Same process for fish. This is probably my smallest category with 239 lines. Again, the matrix, if-else case, breaking it down, and then switch case. Again with birds, just kind of the same general idea. And then, yeah, so the birds are pretty similar. Then this is part of the code where it determines if the code guessed correctly or if it did not. Through each line of questioning, it ended either with correct equals 1 or correct equals 2. Correct equals 1 resulted in the program being correct, and it gets cocky, talks about it, acknowledges A to Z animals, and then asks if the player wants to play again. Otherwise, it says, okay, I give up, asks what animal they were thinking of, and then continues and asks to play again. This part is where the program gets angry at the user and turns into Lord Voldemort, attacks them with about a cadaver. You block with a spell, but eventually you kind of just die and the game is over. These are just my acknowledgments at the end of the code, which will show, and this is my bibliography. So that's my code. Have fun with it.